Your dreams are part-time and require a lot of free work in order for it to be manifested, because it is something that no one's going to pay you to do. It is something you must create. Chapter 8 from our lovely book, The Science of Being Great, and this one is called Consecration. Having attained to the viewpoint which puts you into the right relations with the world and with your fellow men, the next step is consecration. And consecration, in its true sense, simply means obedience to the soul. You have that within you which is ever impelling you towards the upward and advancing way, and that impelling something is the divine principle of power. You must obey it without question. No one will deny the statement that if you are to be great, the greatness must be a manifestation of something within. Nor can you question that this something must be the very greatest and highest that is within. It is not the mind or the intellect or the reason. You cannot be great if you go no further back for principle than to your own reasoning power. Reason knows neither principle nor morality. Your reason is like a lawyer, that it will argue for either side. The intellect of a thief will plan robbery and murder as readily as the intellect of a saint will plan a great philanthropy. Intellect helps us to see the best means and manner of doing the right thing, but intellect never shows us the right thing. Intellect and reason serve the selfish man for his unselfish ends as readily as they serve the unselfish man for his unselfish ends. Use intellect and reason without regard to principle, and you may become known as a very able person, but you will never become known as a person whose life shows the power of real greatness. There is too much training of the intellect and reasoning powers, and too little training in obedience to the soul. This is the only thing that can be wrong with your personal attitude, when it fails to be one of obedience to the principle of power. This power is forever impelling you towards the upper and advancing way. Now look what he says here. It is a manifestation of something within, and but it is not the mind or the intellect or the reason. Remember, the mind is our tool. The mind is something that we have. The mind is something we use. Intellect is a reasoning power, a part of the mind. Okay, remember, the soul, the spirit of who you are. Remember, there is only one universal consciousness, one spirit which permeates, penetrates, and gives life and form and expression to all things. And there is one substance, and you are identical with this substance. You are the same as this substance. Remember, Wallace D. Wattles says that we are a portion of this cosmic substance. We are an embodiment of this universal consciousness, this spirit. And we have a mind, okay? We have a mind that has an intellect, okay? And the intellect never shows us the right thing. It only shows us the best possible means of attaining those things. But it isn't something. There is still a power which even the mind and intellect cannot obtain. Let's read further on to see what he says more about this power. By going back to your own center, you can always find the pure idea of right for every relationship. To be great and to have power, it is only necessary to conform your life to the pure idea as you find it in the quote, great within, end quote. Every compromise on this point is made at the expense of a loss of power. This you must remember. There are many ideas in your mind which you have outgrown, and which, from force of habit, you still permit to dictate the actions of your life. Cease all this. Abandon everything you have outgrown. There are many ignoble customs, social and other, which you still follow, although you know they tend to dwarf and belittle you and keep you acting in a small way. Like smoking marijuana. That shrinks you, that contracts you, it pulls you in, it belittles you, it keeps you acting in a small way. We have to rise above all this. We have to rise above those things that no longer help us grow. Yeah, sure, you did it when you were younger, and sure, yeah, it was a lot of fun, but you know what? There are a lot more funner things than smoking weed. Like, I don't know, skydiving. I'm sure skydiving is very fun. Bungee jumping, I'm sure, is very fun. Getting out of this freaking city, I'm pretty sure, is really, really fun. Being able to do things you want to without having to budget things would surely be fun. The only way to make that happen is by learning the principles of actually setting ourselves free. That is what we are trying to do. I do not say that you should absolutely disregard conventionalities or the common accepted standards of right and wrong. You cannot do this, but you can deliver your soul from most of the narrow restrictions which bind the majority of your fellow men. Do not give your time and strength to the support of obsolete institutions, religions, or otherwise. Do not be bound by creeds in which you do not believe. Be free. You have perhaps formed some sensual sense of habits, or body, sensual habits of mind or body. Abandon them. You still indulge in distrustful fears that things will go wrong, or that people will betray you or mistreat you. Get above all of them. You still act selfishly in many ways and on many occasions. Cease to do so. Abandon all these, and in place of them put the best actions you can form a conception of in your mind. If you desire to advance, and you are not doing so, remember that it can only be because your thought is better than your practice. You must do as well as you think. You must do. You must do the thing to have the power. Emerson, you must take action. You must take the actions. You must dictate the action and not spend so much time just thinking about it, but to actually put it into practice. Remember, knowledge does not apply itself, and when you don't use something, you lose it. If you don't use and apply the knowledge which you are learning, it's only going to escape your mind, and it's going to be like you never knew it in the first place, okay? Remember, knowing and not doing is like not knowing at all. That was a quote. I can't remember who said it, but that is something that always stuck with me. When you know something and you're not applying it in your own life, then it's like you don't know it at all. And it's only going to slip out of your mind because, you know what, maybe you don't fully understand it enough, or maybe you just haven't formed enough consecration within yourself to actually take the initiative and, you know what, make it happen for yourself. Let your thoughts be ruled by principle, and then live up to your thoughts. Let your attitude in business, in politics, in neighborhood affairs, and in your own home be the expression of the best thoughts you can think. Now remember, the thoughts which we habitually think of most of the time, we take on in form. Remember, we are this invisible thinking substance embodied in this physical form. Whatever thoughts we are thinking, we are forming that invisible thought form substance. And as consciousness living in this body, this is the channel in which we express that which we are continuously thinking. Let your manner towards all men and women, great and small, and especially in your own family circle, always be the most kindly, gracious, arid, courteous you can picture in your imagination. Remember your viewpoint. You are a god in the company of gods, and must conduct yourself accordingly. The steps to complete consecration are few and simple. You cannot be ruled from above. You cannot be ruled from below if you are to be great. You must rule from above, meaning you must get over the things that drag you down in order for you to grow and rise above. Therefore, you cannot be governed by physical impulses. You must bring your body in subjection to the mind. But your mind, without principle, may lead you into selfishness and immoral ways. You must put the mind into subjection to the soul. And your soul, your own individual spark of consciousness, is limited by the boundaries of your own knowledge. You must put this into subjection to that oversoul, which needeth no searching of the understanding, but before whose eye all things are spread. And what is the oversoul? The universal cosmic consciousness. God, if you will, our Father in the greatest sense of the term. the parent mind, which moves all within itself, holds all within itself, and at the same time holds all things in their places. This mind, this intelligence, this infinite consciousness, this being created us, embodied itself in us, is learning about itself through us, and is creating along with us. It has given us the power to create. Remember, you were created in the image. That constitutes consecration. Say, quote, I surrender my body to be ruled by my mind. I surrender my mind to be governed by my soul. And I surrender my soul to the guidance of God. End quote. Make this consecration complete and thorough, and you have taken the second great step in the way of greatness and power. Now there is something I want to share with you guys. So, mind, body, and spirit, or soul. Okay, we are all spiritual beings. We have a mind and we are living in this body. Okay, the one spirit is the one intelligence which permeates all things, and the spirit uses a mind in order to control the body and manifest things in the material plane. As far as I have learned, that's what it sounds like. And you know what? We also learned from Charles F. Hannell about the I in man. Okay? You see this lovely thing up here? This I am that I am. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. And that is from the Bible in Exodus 3:15. Basically, as spirit, you are the I of that I am that I am. And as spirit, we have the power to create ourselves, by the thoughts we think and the words we speak and the actions we take. Remember, we create ourselves through the actions we take, and we do that by the thoughts we think. Remember, thought is dictating our actions, and thought is a spiritual activity. Thought is the only activity which the I of you as spirit possesses, because you can say I am. That is just what we are. We just are. I am that. I just am. I am this. I am that. I am one with God. I and my Father are one. I, the individual spark of consciousness, your own individual spirit, the I in you. Now that is just something that I wanted to share, because when you say, I think, the I tells the mind what to think. And when you say, I go, the I tells the body where it's going to go. Now it's very important for us to really come into a grasp and understanding what the true nature of this I is, because it is formless. It is an invisible substance capable of infinite conceptions of itself. Just some food for thought. With that being said, it's the end of chapter 8 of our lovely book, The Science of Being Well, or The Science of Being Great, by Wallace D. Wattles. And the next chapter is chapter 9 with identification.